All right, 5 seconds. All right, welcome everybody. This is Albert Campa, and this is the CantinaMX Podcast, starting coming live here on a Thursday night with Joel, and Jaime is going to be joining shortly. But as far as introductions, Joel, how's it going?
Doing good, Chiquis. Uh, Pretty excited about Chivas' upcoming match against La Fiera. Let's see
Oh
what
yes,
let's see what these guys are made of.
yeah. So Chivas is getting a little bit back into some good.
It's still divided. It's still I still say he hasn't won over the fans. Did you ever see this movie called The Last American Virgin? I'm pregnant, and that guy's like, he's like, that's not my kid, and they're just, school ends, and he's leaving with all the cool kids. They're gonna go skiing,
Mm,
and so he's like late, and there's this other dude, right, who has a crush on her, he's like the dweeb type, and he helps her, and he spends his whole summer working jobs and selling stuff from his grandma's house and shit, and he gets enough money to pay for her abortion. He clears her problem, and then towards the end of the movie, there's this like the this party because school's gonna come back. Summer's over, so it's like the last party of the summer, and this guy he buys this little locket, and he's driving in his mom's station wagon, and he's going to the party, and he's gonna like ask her to be the girlfriend,
mm.
and he gets to the party and he's looking for her, and she's in the kitchen, dude, making out with Chad, and then the movie just ends with him driving away crying. It's pretty harsh, but that's kind of Chivas. That's kind of Chiva fans where Matias is the Chad who comes in and he makes the Chivas feels good. He wins the Copa MX and the Super Copa and Doblete and it's all good. But then when shit hit the fan, he leaves, dude. He left. He just left the mess there, and he's out in MLS having fun.
Oh, you're
And so
talking about
then Thomas Boy,
okay,
Mati, yeah, Mati
yeah,
was the Chad,
okay.
and then yeah, and so Boy is the dweeb that comes in, and he's like, oh man, this dumpster fire, and I have to, and and those are like the Chiva fans. Like at the end, if they could take Mati, they would take him with a heartbeat. Don't it don't matter what Boy is doing, and I want to get into that later on when we
Yeah.
talk about Chivas because I think he's doing something very important that he's not getting very much credit for it. It's getting dismissed, getting like swept under the rug. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, we'll get to that, I guess. But I guess speaking of Chivas fans, they made quite a roar uh, going on our first topic last night. America played Atlanta in this tournament that I guess it's the second instance of this Campeones Cup.
Yeah, it's a match between the Liga MX champion and the MLS champion, right?
Yeah, so they played last night, and the results ended up not too good for Liga MX fans. There was I guess, some pregame banter, I guess, with I think it was Joseph Martinez was saying that they were predicting that Atlanta would win, and America was. I don't think they talked, like Piojo didn't say too much, but they came in, of course, confident. and they played in Atlanta. They played on turf, and America goes in and eventually loses the game. They were down to 10 men towards the end, and lost the game three
It was
two.
a it was a one-off though, right, Chiquis? Just
Just
one
one,
game.
just one game, correct?
Yeah,
So there's no home and away. It was just one game over in Atlanta, and of course
yeah.
everyone's going to
That
say that's the money grab there in the United States.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's you're right, and part of it is to help this league get prestige.
the
Because
you
I
mean
mean, you know
the
what,
league's
Chiquis?
cup? You're talking about the league's cup get prestige?
No, that too, but also like having a tournament like Campeones is in a way it's a way of helping MLS get prestige. And we shouldn't be like Liga MX fans. We shouldn't be as snobbish because
Uh,
Liga MX did the same way back when with they had like a cup against South American teams, and a lot of times they will bring them to play over here, so they would have Mex teams would have that advantage where they didn't have to travel. And America won one of those tournaments against Boca where they played 3 games, and it was kind of dumb because uh, if you were to at the global, Boca had already won in the global, and then so they played a third game, and I don't know if they played it in Los Angeles or the Azteca, and America won it, and then they had that was like an international trophy against like a big team. So I guess this is just karma, man. Están regresando el favor.
uh,
They're the big team now. Ames the big boys in the block, and a team like Atlanta, man, its fans. I know it's bringing them joy, and but yeah, I could see a lot of I see a lot of Liga MX fans being somewhat snobbish.
yeah, you would have to include me. Um,
You, I get it, Chiquis. I get it.
you'd include
I
me on that
get
one.
it. But at the same time, it's like you have that type of juice, where you're helping another league grow. So I see both points.
Well, like for me as a Liga MX fan, I don't really see the benefit, or I don't really care if MLS grows. Like the only benefit that I would say if Liga MX for Liga MX, if MLS grows and they get competitive, uh, it they would be a good challenge. So it would be prestigious for Liga MX teams to go and play MLS teams and then win, and that would be like a big deal. Like, wow, we beat the LA Galaxy with Cristiano Ronaldo and like all these Europe. Take the players from Europe, put them on LA Galaxy, and then if Liga MX beats LA Galaxy, then there'll be some prestige. But right now, and I don't, and even in the future, I don't see MLS. With all this improvement that Liga MX is trying to do, or that we're trying to do, I don't see MLS getting to a stage where, oh yes, it's really prestigious that um, Liga MX teams are able to beat MLS
Well,
teams.
I mean, it takes a while, man. You can't expect it overnight, and it's difficult because we see these tournaments that have been around along for around. Ugh, I forgot how to speak, Chiqui.
They've been
We see
around
these
for a long
tournaments that have
time.
been,
Yeah,
uh, yes, all right. Se me lengua la traba. Yeah, and we forget how they started. I mean, and so like Champions League was a bit of a molero tournament. I think it was the France Football magazine that they were the ones that started the tournament, and Real was like one of the teams that took it serious, which is one of the reasons they have the most campeonatos. But I mean, it started from a magazine. That's like World Soccer starting a cup, and it might not be taken serious, but imagine like 50 years from now, it becomes a premier tournament. So yeah, it will take a long time it would take a long time. But there are teams that I would like to see Chivas play Galaxy, because they have Zlatan and because they have Jonah and they got the tuna guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see them
Oh
play
yeah.
LAFC where they have Carlos Vela, man.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the
So
game. Like last night, I was glad that it happened, and I was like, okay, this is ramping up. I want to see the two champions play. So it is something interesting to see, but like if America were to even now, like today, I look on online, I don't see too much talk of the result. Last night it was like blowing up and everything. Chivas fans were laughing and stuff, but it's over. I don't think Piojo is gonna lose his job over the
no,
game, or
no, it's I'm
like no one's
yeah,
gonna say
especially
crisis or anything like that. So it's
no, with it.
it'll be forgotten in a week is what I'm saying. It's gonna be forgotten. It's probably forgotten even right
Well, see,
now.
yeah, it will be for the result will be forgotten. But I mean, if that's where you need consistency, where you need to keep playing the tournament, and and between this cup and then the other, the league's cup,
Hmm.
that's how you start building the rivalry, where these teams start playing each other more often, and then that's how you end up having like the games start becoming more interesting. Um, and yeah, a lot of those teams are lacking players, you know, uh, but I think Atlanta is one of the ones that have a good squad and a good coach, you know, and same with the LA teams I mentioned. So I mean, it's a slow process. I mean, look, even like San Jose with Mati, I know a lot of Liga MX would want to see a matchup of almost any team against Saint Joe and Mati, just because we know who Mati is, and
Yeah.
of course they got Carlos Fierro, man, and but you see how it's like, um I'm not saying the gap is closing or nothing like that, but there's more and more stuff to look forward to, you know what I mean, where it's like it's not a team you could just dismiss easily when there's like players and coaches that we know or that are good.
Yeah, like when I first heard of this tournament or this match, this Campeones Cup, I thought of the game that happened recently, Copa de Campeones, which is the Liga MX match which is pretty much like a friendly. So that's why I sort of think of this as like it's almost a glorified friendly when Tigres played America, which
Well,
is which is the typical cup that Liga MX does, which is pretty. I think it's done in, isn't it done in Los Angeles? Sort of like in the summer.
I mean, no, you have those tradition. Those are the old traditional cups where you would have like the league champion playing the cup champion,
No, but this is
or
the
sometimes you would have. I don't know if they're doing like if you won the
this is no,
league.
this is Apertura and Clausura.
And,
So
yeah,
2019 was
see,
America and Tigres. They played and
yeah, well,
America won 6-5 in penalties. That was in
yeah, but I mean that's those are cool cups to play. I
yeah,
don't.
yeah, but they're
Yeah, and
not.
then obviously here they're playing the U.S.
Yeah,
because yeah they get more money
yeah. So that's what
from
that's
the
how I
stands. They
compare
could
this
charge
cup that
more.
happened last night. I compare it with that
What?
type of game because it's just a one-off game between,
Yeah,
and you skip all the like semifinals, you skip all the group stage like in a CCL,
no,
and
no,
you just go straight to the champion like Atlanta versus America, and then next year it's gonna
yeah,
be the next team.
but I think if it gets bigger, it would have to go to the point where it's like either you play in a neutral venue or you make it home and home. But
Yeah,
obviously they want to give some advantage to the MLS teams just because the Liga MX are that much stronger on average, I'll say.
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I like to see it just to see. Okay, this is the two champions to see how they do. Um, of course, time has passed since they were champions, so teammates teams have changed, coaches have changed. So I still think the like as far as niveles, you have CCL. CCL is up top though. It just takes so long to go through all
Yeah.
the lower tier teams, and that cup is truly like the CONCACAF champions. I think instead of this thing is just like a nice exhibition, a nice thing to see. But yeah, that's Chiva. The Chivas goat scream was loud last night. In America,
Well, you know why? Because they've been taking a lot of flack. As they
yeah,
should.
they've been suffering.
It's been four torneos with no liguilla, so obviously they've been the butt of many jokes,
Yeah,
many memes. So this was finally a chance to have
yeah,
a laugh back.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them their shot. I actually was sort of because a lot of people, I think Stray Goat was saying like Chivas is never. I mean, and he did say final. Like America lost a final, which is just one game to an MLS team, whereas uh, I don't recall Chivas ever losing a final to an MLS team, but they've lost plenty of games to an MLS team. I brought up the Shelahu. It was back in
Oh
2012.
yeah,
Actually, your boy Fierro was on that team.
he was,
That
man.
was in the group stages of CCL, and they lost to Shelahu 1-0. They did win the other, like the home game 2-1, but ended up being eliminated from the group stages in the CCL that year. But yeah, that was some that was some good fun last night. America. I
Yeah,
think uh, I
good,
think
good
our
quality.
Ron. I mean, we could invoke his name. I think he might have went into his cupboard and got out the old kitchen knife and
It,
stabbed the wall a few times. Actually,
to stab the wall. He did sound salty.
he did. Yeah.
He was
So
he was hella salty.
there was some serious salt, I believe.
Yeah.
uh, all right, so I guess next is a little bit of Liga MX action. You guys, of course, you and John covered the week 4 on Sunday,
Yes, we
so
did.
that was some
You
good.
want a preview?
If you wanna briefly like highlight week 4, and then or we can just go into week 5
No,
and
we
discuss.
already we
Yeah.
already
Oh, you preview. Yeah. Yeah. Let's preview week 5.
yeah, because we already covered
You already covered it.
last week because it was a Sunday pod.
Yeah.
And I
Sunday
think
right
that
after fresh and right after the
yeah, so
games.
we might we were trying to do that now.
Yeah.
So we have two games on Friday. The opening match for Jornada 5 is Camoteros de Puebla taking on a very lackluster Pachuca. So Pachuca has not been doing well. There's already rumors that Palermo, their head coach, doesn't get good results. They bought him a one-way ticket back to Buenos Aires. Um, one of the names being mentioned is Rafa Puente Jr. He was previously at Lobos. He's one of the exciting up-and-coming Mex coaches. He's a very young dude still, so he might be brought in. And then of course Puebla with Chelis. Do you have the tabla, Chiqui, so you could tell us where
Yeah. Both of these
both of these
teams,
teams?
both of these teams are like in the alleyway with living on sleeping on a cardboard box or something.
Oh man,
they're
this is gonna be
it's gonna
one
be
of those bum fights.
some bum fight. We got 16th. Pachuca's 16th and Puebla is 17th.
Oh, ouch,
So they're the bottom
ouch.
4.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Pachuca's
you could
lost.
you, but yeah, it could be a bum fight where it's like to the death because the loser might get sacked. Puebla, Puebla might be a bit more lenient with oh man, what's the dude's name?
Chelis.
Chelis, yeah, with Chelis simply because he's worked with them before. They know what he brings to the table. They didn't exactly put money for refuerzos, and they brought him back just recently, and he did improve them. But I mean, it's difficult in Liga MX when if you don't invest because the majority of the teams are gonna put in, they're gonna open the coin purse and strengthen their squad. So it's hard to expect results if you don't do that. So what, any prediction for this, Chiquis?
Uh, where is this at? Puebla. I mean, I sort of watched Puebla a little bit recently, and I think they've done they've done okay. I want to say they're gonna they might get a result at home.
Yeah, I
At least
haven't
at least
seen
a
either
tie.
team. I haven't seen either team, so I really can't comment. I do
Pachuca's been
think
really bad. They've
it
lost
could
three.
go either way, and obviously Pachuca has a stronger squad, but they're not doing good. And sometimes if the players hate the coach, you know, they could
Yeah.
they could easily throw the match just to get rid of him. But I don't think we've really seen that. I mean, it used to happen way back when. It was a bit more common, and I don't think that's the case now. But
Mm.
a ver qué, a ver qué. Not. I don't really can say who's who right here because just I haven't seen these teams.
Yeah,
I just
I've been
know that
impressed.
the coaches is trial by combat for the coaches, huh?
Yeah, I've been impressed by Christian Tabó, and Puebla also has Alustiza.
There you go.
So
Well,
they've played pretty good. Tabó has been playing pretty good. So and they've been putting up a fight against some of their previous uh, opponents. They did lose to Santos 4-1. That was a tough game, but it's a tough matchup there. I think they can pull off at home. Um, this
I think they
at
could do
least
it
at least a tie, if not a win. I think I'm thinking a win, but at least a tie against Pachuca.
very well. The next match for Friday is Atlas. Atlas, who are, if I'm not mistaken, Chiquis, are they in second place?
They're in fifth.
Huh?
They're in fifth place.
What place are they in the table?
Fifth. Five. You hear me?
Fifth?
Yeah,
They're in
fifth.
fifth?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know they were pretty high up early on. But they're taking on. Did they lose? Ya ni me acuerdo, man. Did they lose
Yeah, they
their last
lost.
week match? Okay, that explains it. Because they were like in second place, so I guess that loss brought them down
Actually,
a few. But they're
let me
still
see.
in Liguilla. But
They actually won because they played Veracruz, but previously they lost to. It's just that the other teams have played better. I mean, they haven't went down too far, but they lost to Santos 2 weeks ago, 2-1. They beat Veracruz last week, so they're actually,
okay,
um, they're not doing too bad. They've uh,
well, fifth
they've
year in
won.
Liguilla.
Yeah, they've won three and lost one, so they're still up there.
Okay, that's pretty good. But they have a pretty tough match because they're facing Cruz Azul. And Cruzul's been having a hard time. They're not playing as good as they should, and they they one of the teams that spent a pretty penny bringing in some really good players from South America, and I guess some of these guys are still adapting to not just to the club but also playing in Mexico. Especially if you have to go straight into Mex City, that could be very difficult because of the
Yeah,
what is
but
it called,
I
Chiquis?
the altitude and stuff,
The altitude.
the
There you
smog,
go.
or
También, yeah,
I
the smog,
I've been impressed though with
the
your boy.
quesadilla sin queso. Paul,
Yeah, with your boy Paul, I have been impressed with his technical
uh,
ability. But like you said, I
yeah,
think the meshing that he's doing with the team, the cohesion might not fully be there.
yeah,
So that's what I think what's hurting them so far. They did
yeah.
They did get the slump buster win last week though against Juarez, if you want to
Yeah,
call it
Juarez
that.
is one of those teams. So now they got Atlas, and this could be another one of those slump buster teams. Um, so we'll see what's going on, man, with Caixinha, because it seems to be a bit turbulent there. There seems since last season there was like a break between him and um, Pelaez, who's like the GM,
Yeah.
and because Pelaez used to be more close with the team, and he just distanced himself, and a big reason was because I guess he sorry relations with
Salud.
Caixinha broke.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think it was last season over transfers. Anyways, and one thing to keep in mind is that Pelaez, when he got hired, kind of come in and help restructure the club. Caixinha was already there, so that wasn't his boy. And one name that's been getting linked is El Turco Mohamed.
Hmm.
Now, Pelaez did let go of the Turk, but the Turk, for the most part, at least I would say he cooperated with Pelaez. Pelaez just let him go because Turk would just take off, man. He would he would just leave. he would, and I guess he wouldn't tell him. And just being in America, I guess there was other people he would tell. It was like, hey, I gotta go see my daughters play in Buenos Aires. I'll be back in 3 days, and they'll be like, all right, cool. But, but yeah, man, that's the story. Is like he went because his daughter was still over there, like his young kids, and then he went to go see a game. The Pope, hosted a soccer match, amigos, because Pope Francis, Argentine,
Yeah.
and he had like an exhibition with all these like known players. So he dude flew, went to Rome, went to Vatican City, went to probably trying to get in, man. Just give me a few minutes. Yeah, and so stuff like that just pissed off Pelaez. But who knows, man? Who knows if he's willing to bring him back? Um, yeah, if Cruz Azul doesn't pick up, and this is one of the matches that I would say, like, just on strength of opponents and rivals, this is one where they should, to recover points and start getting back in track. So let's see how they do, and let's see how Atlas does well. I mean, is it? Let's see if their start is one of those. It was just that they had accessible opponents, because they already lost when they faced the stronger teams.
Yeah, they have had some somewhat accessible opponents with Morelia, Juarez, Veracruz. They
Yeah,
lost to Santos. So
yeah,
now
and
here's
those are
another.
teams that didn't invest. So going back on opening the coin purse, yeah, those teams did not invest, and this season, very few teams invested, and that those teams are a big reason. They didn't. And Chivas, we could throw in Chivas into that as well. They didn't really like bring anyone like where they paid good money. Everything was players that were like out of contract. So yeah, it's pobres, man. It's like a fight in the soup kitchen for the last bread.
In the soup kitchen. It's like
Yeah,
fighting the Dollar
so
General that's about to close.
so yeah, it's been bum fights right there. Atlas, I guess they're used to it.
Yeah,
They
I'm gonna predict a win for Cruz Azul. I think
Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul start where are that? Let me see. Okay, Cruz Azul is at
Is
10.
Atlas the Kimbo Slice of the bum fights?
Oh, maybe. I don't
So
know, man. Atlas is at 5, Cruz Azul is at 10. I see that stuff inverting. So like that graphic that I make, that GIF that I make with
yes,
all um
The team's
Like
going up and
yeah,
down.
the team's going. I see
Very
I
nice.
see an opposite, like an inversion of Cruz Azul
Oh,
going up and Atlas going down. Because who would have thought like Atlas in week well they had in week 2 or 3 I think Atlas was number one number two
yeah.
tied with number
Yeah,
two.
you can see they've been perhaps overperforming or or just doing just as well given their opponents. But as they start facing stronger opposition, then we'll see how they really measure up.
Yeah, and Cruz Azul is going to come up with some feasible opponents. They have Atlas, Puebla, Cholos isn't too easy, and then Chivas after that.
No, but they're not that hard. Yeah, that's a good calendar for Cruz Azul if they're to mount a comeback. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I think all those opponents, to me, Cruz Azul is stronger than all of those guys. They have the quality, man, top to bottom. It's quality and experience. And I
yeah.
did pick them, Chiquis. I picked them for the campeonato.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a big.
and I forgot about. I was looking at the squad and I was looking at the players they brought in, but I forgot about some of that beef with Caixinha and some of that stuff going on there. And I'm like, I didn't factor that in. Pero my boat has been cast, Chiquis.
Yeah, they do got a nice
But
squad though. They do have, and I feel sorry for for Chuy Corona, but they do have just
well,
eating
yeah,
those goals and stuff.
but you Cruz Azul, you just gotta catch fire by the time the liguilla starts. So as long as they enter the big dance, they have a chance.
I mean, look at all these players they have,
So
especially Mexicans. They have Roberto Alvarado, Orbelin, Elias Hernandez,
yeah, and
Cauterucci,
Hernandez
oh Caraglio.
was injured last season.
He's gotten some playing time a little bit, so he's getting back
So
into it.
he's recovering. He's recovering. But yeah, a lot of seleccionados, a
Adrete,
lot of national team caliber players.
yeah. So yeah, they got the lineup to do things. They just need to they need to get the cohesion back, and I think Paul needs to find his place because that dude's got some super technical skill. He needs to like handle that ball and distribute, and then. But yeah, so that's Cruz
So
Azul
Cruz
and
Azul.
Atlas.
So we both agree Cruz Azul should take the 3 points from the Jalisco.
Yeah, I think they're gonna start going up in the table here in the coming weeks.
Okay, very well, very well. And that's the last match for Friday. Moving on to Saturday, we have Ame taking on Monarcas, and or they're hosting them at the Aztec, and I know they're gonna want to like you know get that defeat, shake off that defeat against Atlanta. So they might put a beat down on Monarcas.
Yeah, that's true. And the big signing, I guess, Ochoa. I don't know if he's gonna play,
He,
if
yeah,
he's
I
gonna be
think he
ready to
should
play.
make his debut. Pretty sure he should. It should be his debut. It's home, and it's gonna be crazy. We all saw how the fans went to greet him at the airport. It was pandemonium. They were even shaking his car. It was
Yeah, it was crazy.
craziness,
It was
craziness.
they were standing on things, chanting, and the new, I guess, Americanista fan, the number one fan, El Perro Rabioso, was on site. He was taking interviews. I think I saw a tweet saying he's
Oh
taken
man,
more interviews than Memo has.
and we need a drop. We need a we need to play
Oh, jeez.
some of that guy, some of that guy's words of wisdom. Yeah, we have. So I mean, I do think is gonna win this one. It shouldn't be too difficult. You know, pretty accessible opponent.
Yeah, and let me see. Monarcas. I thought I pulled up there. So they lost to Monterrey last week. They beat Pachuca, lost to Atlas, and then lost to Tigres. So yeah, they've had their losses here. They're in 13th, and America's up there in the third spot. So yeah, this should be a good win. Maybe America with a Santos defeat, if we get to that point, uh, could take the top spot. But early here in the tournament. But yeah, I don't think their players are too worried about the Atlanta loss. They should be able to come back and perform
All right,
well, do their
Kikis,
thing.
I'm seeing something in my calendar. I don't know if you have the same, because I have the Liga BBA,
Yeah.
their official one. Ah, god damn it! I'm looking at the Sub 20.
No, but you're right. You're right though, man. That is a Saturday.
Huh?
Like that's not the first Saturday game. That one's at 9 o'clock.
No, man, I was looking at the Sub 20.
It's still correct though. You're still
God
correct.
damn it!
America's still playing Monarcas.
What about the other games? Have I,
Well, you skipped 2 games on Saturday.
No, no, no. The other games we mentioned, are those still the same?
Yeah, those are good too. Yeah,
Are you
sometimes they'll
sure?
sometimes they'll play. Okay, I'm looking at them right now. So for Saturday, yes, Pachuca Puebla, Atlas Cruz Azul. The next game I would have said is San Luis and Tigres. Do you have your calendar
Okay,
up
see, I
now?
didn't have that.
Yeah, that's the one at five
I do,
o'clock.
but
So this is
oh,
order chronologically. So for Saturday's games, we have San Luis Tigres, and then after that one, León Chivas, and then America Monarcas, and then Monterrey Toluca.
Toluca?
Yeah,
No, Monterrey. Okay,
Monterrey Toluca.
okay, we have the same ones, but I was looking at the under 20. Kind of hate when they do that because they put under 20 in very small letters.
Oh yeah, yeah. You just got to go to
And
the.
I've been making this mistake where I'll be looking at the sub 15 or the femenil, and it's like, dude, can you just make it, you know, it's like those really small letters all the way at the bottom when you're gonna sign a contract. Um, okay, so after the Ame game, which one is next? San Luis.
Yeah, San Luis and Tigres.
Oh man, yeah, San Luis is having. They've just been getting a beat down. It's like when when they introduce a player and all your teammates line up and you gotta run and then they're all hitting you in the head or kicking you in the ass. And that's
Oh, your induction
yeah,
ceremony or whatever.
the induction. Yeah, that's San Luis right now, man. They're making their way to their welcome back, and every team is just getting all their hits, all their licks, man. And so I think Tigres, yeah, man. I think I see Tigres right here, especially with the Gignac who's feeling saucy right after his 108 goals, and he's right now
King of Monterrey,
king
man.
of uh, king of Monterrey,
He's gonna get a
and
statue, I
they're
think.
yeah, they're gonna build him a statue, man.
Yeah,
Probably gonna be like Rocky.
it's gonna
So
be
yeah, he's
it's gonna be all
and then
distorted
did
like
you see
Ronaldo.
the list of all the kids that are getting named Gignac,
Yeah,
all the newborns.
Saint Pierre.
So it's yeah, it's. But I think Tigres is still a very strong team. Tigres didn't really bring players, but they didn't need to. Tigres squad is just stacked. They didn't really need to bring players. It's a team that I was surprised they didn't get rid of players. Um, so yeah, I think they're gonna put the smackdown on San Luis right here, Chiquis.
Yeah, this is a pretty obvious result here. San Luis hasn't. Well, they did win against Monterrey. Monterrey started off slow. They got a win
Yeah.
there. Um, they lost to Chivas the last week 3-0. So they're they're gonna struggle. But I thought of like your freshman year, your freshman year in high school,
Yeah.
your first year there, and then you get bullied. You get your head dunked in the toilet.
Oh man, I
That's
don't know
it.
what school you went to, Chiquis.
It didn't happen to
What else
me.
is going
It
on?
didn't happen to me. I got my lunch. I got
Okay.
my. You get your lunch money taken. You-
Oh, damn.
Dang man.
That's the old school bullying, Chiquis.
Yeah, man. That's my.
Now they're cyberbullying.
Oh yeah, that's like you get a funny picture taken of you and then sent around on. That's like emotional.
Yeah. Okay. So Tigres should be the victors here. And who do we have next?
Next is the Leon Chivas game on Saturday
Leon
evening.
Chivas. Yes. And that's yeah. Leon is hosting,
Correct.
and this should be a good. It should be a fun game. We'll see what's going on. Chivas sent, of course, JJ Mack, who's a Chivas player, and he let's see how he does against his former club. Uh, doesn't seem like Leon is going to be buying him. They're still trying to negotiate for players. So there's that. And they sent Godinez, who was one of the other youth, who's also at Leon. Leon got rid of Sambu. It was said that because he was just too much drama. So the coach got rid of him. That's what I heard. That was like one of the reasons that they didn't want Sambu in the squad. Uh, but yeah, Leon is, I would say, one of the favorites to get into Liguilla again. I wouldn't make them candidates for the league, but they're a very capable squad. Definitely they'll be in Liguilla. So for Chivas, this is going to be a tough game. Very tough game. So I'm just interested to see how they perform overall. You know, even if they lose, I want to see how they play, how they match up against a Leon and away. Uh, their other big game was against Santos, and it was away, and it was at the start of the season, and it's hard to judge from that one because they were with their convoluted preseason where they had played a game, and then they traveled to Mex to play Santos, and then they were gonna play like the next day, I believe, again. It was just it's just a mess. That's when the league didn't allow Chivas to reschedule. For other people saying the league is helping Chivas, yeah, it certainly didn't help them in match they won. Uh, so excuses aside, this time they're going in. You could say more fresh, and we should get a better understanding of how Chivas matches up against some of these like stronger opponents. Now they did beat Leon last season, but this Leon had already been qualified to the Liguilla.
They broke their streak, right?
They did. They broke. They had like a 12 game streak or something.
Yeah, that's Leon. Leon was on a run. They were already qualified, like you said. What I'm
Yeah,
finding interesting this year, though, is Leon or Chivas have won both of their games at home
they
against
have.
San Luis and
Well,
Tigres.
yeah. Well, you know what? Their last four home games, going back to the Leon game, which was last season, but these are all games they played at home. Uh, and so we include the Santos for the Copa MX. They have won him, and
Hmm.
doesn't seem impressive, but Chivas had not been able to win
They
more
got
than two games at home for a long time.
they got rid of
So the
Mati.
fact that,
That's why,
excuse
man.
me,
They got rid of Mati. That's why.
no,
They got,
I'm not gonna go there.
that guy was cursed at home,
That
was he not?
he was. He went a whole season without even winning at home for league play. For league play, he would beat the he would beat the minnows in the Copa MX, but he did go a whole season without being able to win at home. But this is one of the things Boy has been able to do, where he's making you know, the Akron Stadium, formerly known as the Omni Life or the Zombie Life. You know, he's making it a difficult venue to go into because it wasn't for a long time. Pretty much any team could go in there and take points. So he's slowly bringing that back. You know, bringing that home field advantage. And the other thing where I feel he's not getting as much credit is that he's helping rescue some of these players that like Chofis who finally scored. He scored when he scored against San Luis. Um, that was his first time scoring in a year. So and Bully has like 2 goals, I think. Granted off of penalties, but he has the goals are there, they count.
Hmm.
And Vega, man, he's he scored in the cup, and he got another penalty kick. So Vega's a guy that's he last season he sort of like he was off, man. He had like one good game against Atlas, and then after that he was just he was just wet powder, as they say. And these guys are beginning to play better, and I do think Boy has a lot to do with that. You know, uh, I think if we give some credit to him, or at least what he's doing right, we could say those two things, man. He's getting the team to win at home, and he's getting some of these talented guys to start playing better.
Yeah, I'm gonna look out this game for well, I want to see how JJ Mack does against Chivas. I want to see
Oh
also
yes,
Oribe if he's been quiet. Oribe has been quiet, and
he
I'm hearing some
he
rumblings and
has.
complainings. So I want to see how he how he ends up.
Yeah, a lot of fans are still, and it's understandable. He came from America, where
Yeah,
he played for a long time, and he was a key figure. So so I could see why there's a lot of uh, you know there's a lot of like some hatred, I guess, or people not convinced, and they they feel he hasn't been performing well. He was injured last season. He didn't get as much playing time, so it could take him a while to get back into top form. But I was, something to remind fans. Chivas wanted Oribe, you know, and and even if you don't like the transfer, you have to respect that a player like that, he wasn't gonna come into Chivas if he didn't have some guarantees. Just because he could get a lot of these guarantees at other clubs, and Chivas brought him because he's still, he's a known player. He helps sell tickets and whatnot. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he's at the front of a lot of the ads for Chivas. When you see promos and sponsors and whatever, he's at the forefront. And so when you bring a player like that, he wasn't gonna come in to sit in the bench. You know, if
yeah,
that was the case, he could have stayed at Ame, or he could have gone to any other team. And I think he came to Chivas because he wanted to play, and it's like his attitude. He has that competitive winning mentality, and I do feel it's been rubbing off on some of his teammates. So even if he doesn't look too good in the field, I still think he's doing a good service. I mean, ultimately, I'm not gonna say because of that you're just that he should stay as a starter the whole season, but you still have to respect someone of that. You gotta respect someone like that. Hierarchia they call it, and you gotta at least respect it and give him a few games. And then if it gets to the point where okay, you're holding the team back, you know, or some other guy is just killing it more, then obviously you're gonna have to bench him.
yeah. So and I think the other guy being a young Ernesto Vega.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll have to
yeah,
see.
that guy's on fire and he's very hungry. No, but there's other youth. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we got uh, the Ivan, the Afro Sander lookalike, Cesar Huerta. But yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be a good game to watch. Interesting to see how some of those players work out. I would give Chivas a well I don't know.
I have
That's gonna be a
Leon as
tough game.
favorites. I have Leon as favorites to win it. Uh, but I think Chivas could could steal a tie. You know, if they play,
Yeah,
if
possibly.
they're up, if they play their best, I think they could steal a point. But to me, Leon are the favorites just because they're more finely tuned, well-oiled machine uh, compared to Chivas as I mean, look at Boy, man. He hasn't been coaching them that long. He had like 4 games last season, 4 official games, and it was like quite the dumpster fire. It was a raging dumpster fire. Chiquis, I don't know if you've seen the meme where you can see a dumpster on fire, and it's like in a flooded city. Have you have you seen it? It's like
Uh,
floating down the street.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's that's pretty much what he what he walked into, man. So and then he didn't have a good preseason, man. That he was preseason was a joke. Preseason usually you want the teams concentrate somewhere and you start working out, see what players need more physical and whatnot, and then you play a few easy opponents just to get into rhythm. Nah, man, they had Chivas flying all over the U.S. playing all these strong, really good teams, just getting their ass kicked. So it was not what Chivas needed for preseason. But I think ultimately the more you play, the more you start becoming consistent, and I guess they start understanding what Boy wants.
Yeah, yeah. I can see Leon definitely having the advantage here. They are in 12th spot and Chivas is in sixth, so that could be a little bit. Um, oh, how do you say it? I don't even know the word. Engañoso.
Hmm. Deceiving.
Deceiving, yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that turns out. So
Well,
who we
well,
got?
now you mention it. Who has Leon played? Do you have
Yeah,
Do
they've
you have the list?
they started out winning away at Pachuca. They tied America, and then they lost to Monterrey in week 3. Last week they had a bye week, so they didn't play.
They didn't play. Okay, that's part of the reason. And the Monterrey game, I think it was a close match, wasn't it? Like
Yeah, it was 3-2.
three to
So,
two or something like
yep,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, not so bad. And I think that they have 1 game less. I think that's a big reason. For those of you wondering, our faithful listeners, Liga MX expanded to 19 teams. So that means that each week one team rests. One team does not get to play. If I'm not mistaken, Chiquis, is Cholos the team that is resting this week?
that is correct.
Okay, yeah. So
Descansa,
I wasn't
Cholos.
too far off. I wasn't too far off with my 220 calendar. A lot of times it's the same one because they play before the senior team.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and that's sometimes so that's why it could be the same, but with like Sub 15 or some other ones, it could just be something else. Um, okay, so we both have Leon as favorites to win that game.
Yeah, and then I guess the next one. Did we talk America Monarcas? Did we already discuss that one?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We said they were
So that was
gonna
the.
Monarcas were gonna
Oh,
play
they're gonna.
pay for
Yeah,
the broken plate.
yeah.
They're
So
gonna yeah.
that's
So we did
that's the final game on Saturday, or actually no, one more game on Saturday. Uh, Monterrey Toluca. So
Monterrey Toluca, and
yeah,
and yeah, Toluca has not been doing too good. That's La Volpe right there, and I think he's on the chopping block as well. He's another of the coaches that could be on the chopping block. But we talked about this, Yon and I last on Sunday, and we talked about how Toluca's usually not that quick. Even if you have that poor start, they're usually not that quick to just cut cut a proceso out. And I'm assuming La Volpe comes with a hefty price tag, so they would have to drop a you know, couple million there to sack him.
Yeah, that's I mean, but if you look at these games that they've lost, uh especially like at home. Their first match against Querétaro, they lost 2-0, and then
Ouch.
they go away to Cruz Azul and tie, and then they go to Juarez and lose 2-0 to Juarez, and then they lose
Yeah,
at home
but see,
to
that's
America.
that's where you look bad when you lose to a
Yeah,
Juarez. But you didn't say the Cruz Azul. What was that result?
that was a tie, 1-1. So they tied Cruz Azul away,
Okay,
but then they lose to Juarez right
okay,
after.
but then yeah, see those that makes you look bad. Like just you can't lose to Juarez. We talked about San Luis, going through the line and getting their asses handed to them. And San Luis was the team that actually won promotion. Juarez did not win promotion. Juarez finished their season in second division. They finished like almost at the bottom of the table. Their only saving thing was that they made the final of the Copa MX, so they were Copa MX darlings, but not so much in the league. And they came up by buying out the former Lobos franchise. So Lobos ran out of money. Nobody wanted to put the shekels. Couldn't get a TV deal. It was just getting too expensive, and so they sold the team with a franchise, and Juarez stepped up and they swooped in, and here they are. Here they are in Primera División,
Yeah, so
and
those
yeah,
are some bad results for Toluca.
yeah. I wonder how much longer they will give him though, uh, and who would. I think my boy Chepo would be willing to slide in there. He's coached them before. He led them to two league titles, and I was listening to Raza Deportiva the other day, and they mentioned Chepo being. Someone said that Pachuca might be interested in Chepo, but Rafa said there's only two teams right now Chepo would return to. That would be Cruz Azul and Toluca, and as often, more often than not, I agree with Rafa there. Just because Chepo, he's one of the highest paid coaches in Liga MX, and I know he has a bad image, especially because of the selección. But if his numbers, man, just his numbers alone in Liga in club, they're very good. They're very good. So that's a big reason why he commands such a hefty price tag.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't. Well, if you recall history, I wouldn't mind if at all if La Volpe gets sacked any day of the week. But so yeah, that's I mean, they have a tough game against Monterrey.
Oh
Monterrey
yeah,
started off
Monterrey.
sort of
Yeah,
weak, but has come on strong a little bit. Uh, and then after Monterrey, they have a sort of manageable schedule with Xolos, Necaxa, and Pumas and Monarcas. So if they give him a chance, he might be
Monterrey
able
does.
to. No, that's Toluca. I'm sorry.
Oh,
So La Volpe for him.
Toluca after that.
So for yeah, for La Volpe to save his, if he could just squeak out this tough
Save
game,
his hide.
yeah, to save his hide against Monterrey, squeak out like a tie or something or a good showing, then his next few games are not as hard. They got Xolos. Toluca
Yeah,
has
but
Xolos,
you know what?
Necaxa.
You're trying to pick up. You're trying to pick yourself up and dust yourself out. Oh man, going into La Tamalera and facing one of the strongest teams, easily top four. It's that's just man. You know what I mean.
cruising for a bruising.
Yeah, man, that's it would have been better if they would have, like you go to visit Morelia or you go visit San Luis, one of these easier teams. But yeah, to go against Monterrey, that's a pretty hungry team right now. They're beginning to bounce back. I don't know. I don't know. I see another defeat in the books there for Bigotes.
Yeah, and Monterrey, they started off sort of rough. They lost to America 4-2. They lost to San Luis in the second week 1-0. Um, Brand new San Luis beat them. And then they came back and beat Leon 3-2 at home and beat Monarcas away 1-0. So they're a little bit
Yeah,
up
they
on the upside.
yeah they started slow and they're bouncing back. Cause yeah, the quality's there, man.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
pretty much every line they have really good. They have seleccionados and they have very capable players.
And
Yeah, this
the
is a team
Pizarro.
that. Oh man, that's true. They
Pizarro
did.
has sort of you haven't heard too much from him. I've seen a little bit of complaints about him going quiet after a pretty good summer with the national team. Um,
And that too could affect them because sometimes when you don't have that rest, fatigue catches up, man.
yeah, so that should. I'm expecting let's see, a Monterrey win there.
Same here. Same here. I see the Rayados getting a big win.
So yeah, a lot of good games this go around on
Yes.
Saturday evening. It's
¿Quién
like
sigue?
one right
¿Quién
after
sigue,
the other.
Chiquis? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Actually, the America and Monterrey game, those are at the same time, so you're gonna have to choose. But starting at
Have the
5.
split screen, Chiquis.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Or
you
the
have to
thin screen.
split screen, picture in picture,
No,
whatever
that's
you
the
got.
split picture. Yeah,
Picture in picture.
there you go.
Yeah.
Picture in picture, yeah.
Or get out your laptop, your iPad,
Your phone.
your CRT TV. All right, so that's Saturday, I guess. Going on into Sunday, where my depression begins.
Uh-oh.
Little
Uh-oh. Yeah, because Pumas,
little cat.
they're coming off of two defeats, right?
Yeah, pobres Pumas. They're still in eighth spot, but they've had two defeats. They do have two wins though. They started off at the top of the table along with Atlas and Santos. But yeah, their last two games have been defeats to Cholos Tigres, which are, I mean, Cholos
And
isn't a bad team, but
who are they going up against this week?
so this week, yeah, that's the first game on Sunday is against Veracruz. So, and
Oh, well,
it's at
see,
home, so that's a game that's very
that's
possible
a
for them.
that's a slump buster right there, man. And Veracruz, I think they're on a 30 game, something like a 30 game winless streak.
Ah,
It's pretty painful. It just keeps adding on. But yeah, yeah, Veracruz is ouch. You don't want to be that team that they break their streak against. But yeah, I would say that's a team to beat. Kind of embarrassing, man. And so Veracruz were relegated last season, but then the league was like, if you give us this much money, you could stay. And why they do that? It was political pressure, believe it or not. Uh, Veracruz is owned by, I think they're priistas, Curi and some of the governor in Veracruz and all that, and they're tied to El PRI, and they got some pull, and of course they call in the Federacion for some favors, and that's a big reason. That's a big reason they stayed. As soon as I heard there was that connection, I was like, oh, they're not going anywhere. Se quedaron. Yeah. So, but I mean, you can't keep a team like that for so long, man. I think fans at one point won't care, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so it's like, well, why? If you're wondering what the link is, so basically, it's that's part of how that party, the PRI,
uh-huh.
it stays in power because the people know that they have.
Power to the people.
Yes, they bring the team to the city, So,
What's up, guys?
Hey,
hey,
Juan.
Cubole, man.
Hey, ¿qué onda, Jolie? ¿Qué onda, Beto?
And Profe joins us. How's it going?
Perfect,
I
perfect.
guilt
Join
tripped
us.
him.
We're doing the league recap. We're with Pumas facing Veracruz, who have what? Do you know how many games? Like, is it like 30 games that they haven't won?
Yeah, let me check this out.
Cruz?
That's
Wow.
Yeah, Veracruz has like Veracruz, man, and they've gotten some goleadas. Like they've had like some very bad goleadas. Even Pumas gave them one. It was like 7-0, and then they had like a 9-2 and 8 something. It's kind of embarrassing now.
Wow, man.
so Clausura 2018. Shoot, man, I'm gonna have to look through all these. Loss, loss, loss. No, they beat Chivas. they
They
beat
didn't beat Chivas.
they beat
They
Chivas.
tied.
They beat Chivas in Akron on 7
Are you
April,
sure
dude.
that's not a
Oh,
Copa?
that's 2018. Hold on a second.
What?
That's 2018. I was looking at the wrong number.
Oh, yeah, I remember that ass kicking Necaxa gave him. I was wondering what's going on over there. That 7-0 game?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's pretty bad. Not a good time to be a Veracruz fan. I would have just been like, you know what, just send us to second division where they could at least have respectable results.
Pachuca tore
Mm,
them a new one, too, last season.
yeah, I think wasn't it?
That was
Yeah, they've
9-2.
had some.
Yeah, they didn't win a single game all last season, bros. Let me go back.
Yeah, see,
Let me go back
and then
another.
you go back, so they're close to like 30 games or 30 games, so it's pretty bad. And then it was to add more uh in, insult to injury or injury to insult. When they're playing Atlas and they have that penalty kick, I think they would have gave him the lead, and the guy misses it and injures himself.
Their last win was
God
1-0.
damn, man.
Their
Dude,
last
they need a Brujo Mayor to give them a cleanse, man.
El-
They're hexed.
their
There's
last
an Indio Masonico here in MacArthur Park, man.
their last
He
win was
will
against Tijuana in August of
against
2018.
You know what though? Their away games where they get like absolutely crushed. Their home games they seem to, they have a few draws here and there, but a lot of their away games they're getting killed. 3-0, 3-1, 4-0.
and with the coach's ojitos, right, which is makes it kind of more sad. Well, I mean, he recently took over them, but Ojitos is a very good coach, man, and it's kind of sucks to see him there.
He's too
Like
soft, right?
he can be soft, but he's he's pretty iconic guy, man. He had the Toros Nesa team that was one of the most memorable teams in Liga MX,
Well, dude,
and
that was like 50 years ago. He's almost 100 years old, man.
that's in
They should be.
97, 96, 97. No, yeah, he's up there in age, but that's what I'm saying. Like he shouldn't have to be doing this. Uh, he's kind of has to wear clown shoes. So they're playing Pumas. Profe, do you think Pumas is gonna add to the misery of Veracruz in Seoul, or do
Well,
you think, or do you think Veracruz is gonna break their streak?
I'm trying to remember where Pumas is in the standings. I'm trying to pull up Beto's
They lost
handy
their last two
chart.
games. They're like in
Veracruz is at last place,
eighth.
man. They're in last place.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
Pumas is in eighth. Yeah.
in Beto's chart, the little graphic he has, it's up on
Yeah,
Facebook. You see Veracruz start like in 15th place, and then they just like fall off the chart.
it disappeared.
Yeah, like they just disappear. You're like, hey, where are those guys? They still exist?
There's so many teams, man. I only have 12 teams on that thing. They went into
Yeah, man,
oblivion.
it's funny.
Seven
And then you
teams
see like
disappeared, huh?
the best part about it too is like Chivas is like you don't know where they are, and then boom, they're just shooting straight up, man.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah, well,
they weren't top
they
12.
started at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
word, dude.
Profe, your prediction, man.
Dude, I have to check who's the away. If Veracruz is away, you should. It'd be good to bet some money for them to get smacked like at least
For the
four
games
zero.
at Seoul, yeah, the games at Seoul.
Yeah, dude, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose badly. They
That's what I'm talking about.
at least a 3-0, which is great for Chivas, right? Because they're turning it
It
around.
is.
They're starting to add points. I mean, they're winning games. You know, not to change the subject, but with Veracruz, you know, God bless
No,
these guys.
I think
They're the
if you're
insurance, man.
no, if you're a Chiva fans, you want Veracruz to win or to tie because Pumas is gonna be one of the teams that could potentially fight for. Because if you're Chivas, you're thinking they could qualify between sixth and eighth place, you know, and you have a group of teams that they're gonna be fighting for that with. And right now, Pumas is one of those simply because they are in eighth place. And then you have like Atlas and Santos who wasn't expected to do this good. So there's a couple teams that ultimately they're gonna fight. They're gonna go toe to toe with for that for one of the last spots. Chiquis, uh, sorry, I want Veracruz to.
Enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah,
Don't worry though.
hey,
I'm
you
with
guys
Juan.
can miss a liguilla, man. It
Pumas
won't hurt you as much.
Pumas gonna
Chivas is on a.
Pumas gonna smack him around though, man.
Yeah, I think they can. I'm pretty sure they can.
Although Pumas haven't, they had a sort of an easier start of their schedule, and then a little bit tough. They beat San Luis and Necaxa, and now they're going against some easier, well, a couple of more easier teams, and then they got Monterrey in a couple of weeks. So yeah, some tough.
Yeah, I was listening to some of Michel coach, some of his pressers, and he knows what's up, man. You could tell he did his homework, and he was talking about in which teams made liguilla and which teams didn't. So he has a good understanding of like opponents that Pumas is going up against. That was pretty refreshing. He did his homework, man.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah,
This is a team that
yeah.
doesn't have all the money in the bolsita to go and buy all these great
Nah, I
players.
think they spent it on Michel, dude. He needed to have a car, a posh apartment, you know, his podóloga. All
I'm
right.
looking at Beto. I'm looking at Beto's chart.
Oh,
What up, everybody?
Is
What
that
is
Johnny?
hey,
up? I'm over
what?
here.
Oh, what's up, Jaime?
How'd you get that?
Whew.
How'd you get that coming on, man? How'd you get that audio busting into your thing?
Ah, I had it ready.
You
Oh
had
man, this is now a Chivas podcast.
I wish I could
There you go.
I wish I could.
Watch your
I
back,
wish I could
Beto.
give you guys the visual of what's going on right now. So there's a big blackout at my house. So I'm outside on a candle on my phone.
Damn,
Oh, you get,
Dang.
power outage.
What
But
city are you in?
not even a blackout can stop me from being on this podcast.
that's dedication,
That's
man.
good, man.
It's like
I live in Antioch.
did the directiva for Veracruz not pay you your bill or something?
They be giving me those empty promises like Chivas do, you know.
The
Ouch.
cantina check didn't clear
The
it bounced.
cantina, the cantina check bounced again. Goddamn Ron.
Damn it, freaking
Ron,
Ron and Beto.
shoot, Soccer Chronicle failing on us again.
How far are you guys in the podcast so far? You guys already
Well,
go
We've
over
been
a
on.
lot of
we're
stuff?
we're reviewing the league, the match week 5, and then we're gonna talk about selección, about some of the Tata's kids, some of the players he called, and then if you guys want to bring up a subject, we could you know
Yes, we got our last two
touch on
games
it.
to preview. Our last two games to preview for next
All
for
right,
this.
let's finish that.
Or let's set.
So we agree. So Pumas is beating Veracruz.
Yeah, we
You know
gotta
what
take.
though? Ever since Pumas, I think it was the game against San Luis. Ever since that game, they've been on a downward spiral, man. Like I'm looking at Beto's handy chart here. You know, and after the second jornada, they're just they're dropping. They're like they're dropping deeper than at a sharper rate than Veracruz. So we could have a surprise
Well,
result this
you
week.
gotta take
I know,
into
but if
you gotta take into account where they started though, man. They were up. They're like in first place, tied for first, second place, the first two games. So there's nowhere else to
Yeah, your
go.
chart shows they were in second. Santos holding steady at first,
Yeah,
and Pumas went from like second to like
to eighth.
now they're in eighth.
There's nowhere
You
else
know,
to go, man. So they're
there's nowhere else to go
normalizing.
by down.
They're normalizing.
yeah, but if you
Just like
need a slump buster, this is it, man.
yeah,
This is the
they're
slump
gonna they're gonna
buster.
they're gonna
The
This is
maintain.
Whataburger visit,
Pumas
this is
all
the Whataburger.
Pumas always
yeah.
maintains that
This
that
is
on the
the
fringe
torta at
liguilla.
last call.
They always maintain that on the fringe liguilla qualification, just to give Chivas
Oh,
some hassles at the end.
but
That's
Veracruz is the drunk torta at last call. You have to go home alone. You-
How many more free penalties does Chivas have left for the
oh
season?
man, I don't.
Because I'm
we,
enjoying the ride right now, but I know that we're gonna run out of tokens pretty soon.
we,
Dude, but I've seen like the replays. They got they got the video assistant ref. So I mean they're legit calls. You know.
Of course they are.
oh, VAR screwed up. VAR screws up every so often.
Wow.
I saw a meme on that recently. That's pretty hilarious.
You know what's hilarious? America losing yesterday.
I
That was pretty hilarious.
forgot all about that one.
Can't believe they made up some bullshit tournament and we still lost it. Makes no sense.
we 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 talked a little about it. It's to help.
Embarrassing.
It's to help MLS get prestige. You
So
know,
is the
Nah,
gap
dude,
closing,
it's
guys?
Piojo. It's
The
Piojo
Huh?
gap is
getting his
closing.
ass handed to him like always. You know, yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure he did not game plan for this game. You know, like he just showed up and expected to just
that,
freaking stomp
that
on
could
these
be
guys.
possible. That could be
That is,
Very
possible.
man.
possible.
And now and that's why he was blaming the players on their lackadaisical attitude and their fifth grade mistakes. But I'm pretty sure, you know, that carelessness started at the
Well,
top with his preparation.
well, I'm sure the players came in confident and arrogant as well. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
they were probably in this.
what a jackass. And I had just praised him like a week ago, saying, "Hey, his staying in the national team made him a better manager." And I'm sure there is, but I mean, come on, dude.
I think I thought everybody forgot about last night's game, other than until Jaime mentioned it just now.
or they want to forget.
yeah, no, it's. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
it's
not
a
a significant cup. So me and Joel were talking about it. It reminds me of the Campeones Copa de Campeones between Clausura and Apertura Mexican clubs. America beat Tigres in penalties. Do you guys remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Happened over the summer. That's like a cup
oh
that
the
I
nobody.
remember.
Supercopa
Yeah,
Uh,
is that what it called?
all
I
right,
don't.
though, gentlemen, we
For,
let's just finish
yeah.
the
preview.
preview before
All right, the next
we
game,
lose we
Necaxa
lose
and
Before
track.
we give
Santos.
America the smackdown.
Necaxa and Santos.
Necaxa Santos. Who's hosting?
Necaxa.
Who's the home team?
Necaxa's hosting the Aguascalientes.
Mm,
Now
I think
Necaxa,
Santos are too good right now. I think they
correct.
win.
Yeah, Santos on a roll, dude.
Yeah, I agree. I think they could at minimum get a tie.
Let's see. Let me look at these previous games here.
So
Tigres beat
What's the
Santos 3-1, and uh, prior to that,
I
or not Santos. Tigres beat Necaxa 3-1, and prior to that, Necaxa beat Veracruz the 7-0 game. So
You guys ever been to Aguascalientes?
yeah, man, I
I
used to
have
live
not.
there
Oh
You used to live
snap!
there?
Chicas
Oh
live there.
wow.
just a few months. That's a nice place, man.
How far is it from Mex City? Like a couple hours?
From Mex City? No, it's further. It's like north
it's
of
really far.
it's north of Leon, man. It's like
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh,
or
it's closer
north.
to Jalisco, right? Michoacan, Colima.
Shoot, I need to look up a map though, man.
How
It's
many flecha amarillas did you
it's
take to
it's
go to like if you had to go to Guadalajara?
I don't know. I don't know that. But it's
Yeah.
it's it's like geographically, I don't know if you guys know. It's geographically the center point of Mexico, of the whole
Oh,
country.
all right, all right. Yeah.
There's like a spot with a huge flag. But yeah, I'm thinking you guys are correct. Santos can take that one away.
Well, I didn't
Necaxa,
say Santos was taking. I said they could get a draw.
Come on, man. They're the best team in the league right now.
They
They
are, but
won.
I feel that they've had like an easy schedule. Even facing Chivas, like they faced Chivas at the best time possible. You know, just kind of like they try to get out of that game. The league that is helping them said no, you can't reschedule, and because they had played a Molero,
Yeah,
and
they
then they
played
they would
Benfica on Saturday
yeah
and then Torreon
they,
the next
and
day.
then they had to play again after that. Travel, I think was it Atletico?
Tuesday. Yeah, on that
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So
They
I
played
mean, to me,
three games in
cause
four
cause I
days.
mean, once they played again, Chivas smacked them, and Santos had some of their good players there. But I don't see them that strong, even though they're like top of the table, and if we see the calendar, a lot of the teams how they're facing them, uh, I think that's gonna help them, and I see them going into Liguilla, but I see them exiting right away. I just don't see them that strong. I think they've been stronger. They're pretty much, I think, right now probably very reliant on Furch, but I don't see them as
Who is
strong as they.
trying to get his
Oh yeah, he is.
citizenship, right?
yeah.
No, he's gonna get it. He's trying to get
And
into the national team. He's
he's gonna.
already.
Do you think we're at a point where we need him?
No.
It depends. To me, it's like if he's doing well and other players aren't, I would bring him in.
What? So what's his position? Is he like a
He's like a target.
winger? Or is
He's a
he like
target forward, right?
Yeah.
Like
he's
a
like a nine?
Nueve clavado.
Oh, okay.
mm,
Plays well with his back to goal.
Kind of like Vela
Uh,
or
un nueve tronco.
Nueve tronco clavado.
this guy.
Enterrado. No, he.
Sembrado.
No, no, he's a good
well,
guy. I mean, he's a
he's
good
definitely
player.
not a. I don't know if he's worthy of a call up though.
I mean, Bully wasn't worthy, and he got a few call-ups. had not done anything, and
But he's
they
Mexican. He's not, from a different country. Like, when's the last time
that's
we had?
true.
When's the last time we had a naturalizado on the selección? It's been a while, right?
6 years ago, I have a picture on my Facebook. You know how they have those 6 years ago this happened?
Uh huh.
6 years ago, I posted a picture of Chaco Jimenez with the national team jersey on.
Oh
You guys remember
Oh,
that?
shit.
that's right. He was probably the last one. Yeah, he was. I mean, the
Piojo
Voso, no?
called
Chepo.
him up.
Oh,
Voso
that's right.
también.
Also, when with
And
Piojo,
the
you're right.
Copa America.
He went to Copa America.
Yeah.
You are
Did he play
correct.
that friendly with Ivory Coast too? Him and Damian Alvarez.
Oh, there you go. You
Damn.
guys answered the question.
It's been a minute.
So
Yeah,
we're going back
Boso.
to what,
That's
2016?
2013.
Who do you think's
2013.
Who do you think's been the worst one that we've called up? Probably Leandro, right?
He didn't get. He didn't. I don't think he played. Leandro didn't play.
Well, he didn't play as much, but
I
he
did
was
see
already up
him.
there in age.
The
I
most.
I went to go see Mexico play in Oakland, and he was in the starting lineup. I was like, "Who the fuck is this blonde-haired motherfucker?"
That dude is Puma's legend, man.
Don't
He's
don't talk smack about him. You're gonna summon Yon.
yeah.
Yon
Before
Yadu.
that, he played for Leon. I remember he was a big Leon player,
He's
and
good. He's good, but
then
he came up there. Ya estaba
Pumas.
viejito when they, he wasn't in his prime when he came. Sort of like Sina when he joined the team. He wasn't. He was kind of past his prime.
Was he though? I think we got a couple good games out of Senia though.
But I wouldn't say he was at his best. Like his best moments.
Hey,
Yeah,
is Leandro Augusto still working for Pumas? He was an assistant, right? Or
yeah.
still
He
there?
was he was up in the. I don't.
Or he was a director deportivo,
Yeah,
right?
something like that. So he still might be in there. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, if we
Perfecto.
want to continue to the last game,
Yeah, Chiquis.
uh,
What's the last game?
this is a Juarez at home versus Querétaro. Now
Oh man,
this Querétaro team. I'm liking them, dude.
Yeah, well they got a really good coach, Buse, man.
And
He's
this one,
Midas.
and this.
equipos grandes, huh? Querétaro and Juarez. Holy
Oh man,
man,
you're you're
that's the game of the week.
you're
You think they can fit another advertisement on their jerseys?
Ouch.
it's messed up, dude.
I
Actually, didn't they
posted.
have a chart and like
Yeah,
there's like a few teams that had like a lot of sponsors that you wouldn't think would be.
I think Leon is
I
the
post.
winner, right?
Leon had
I
yes.
could tell you, gentlemen, right now because I posted it on the Facebook page. I posted the picture of the chart of the teams with the most.
And I think what's his name? Tom Marshall posted a photo today about
The clean
like
jerseys.
how the jerseys would look without the logos and sponsors. I'm like, dang, these are nice. Cruz
Did you
Azul's
guys see the?
the team, right? With like no sponsors.
No, they always have their main sponsor, which is Cemento, the Cruz
Mm-hmm.
Azul. It just looks like their logo, but that's the company. All right, my Facebook page is acting weird, man.
Are you on the
Juarez.
Are you on the same network as the Chivas TV?
Yeah, so have they decided what they're gonna do? Are they just gonna go the entire season with not a contract or what?
Wait, what are you talking about now?
Chivas, they don't have a TV
Oh, TV
contract.
for TV contract for the
'Cause
U.S.
yeah, because
They have
they
in Mexico. It's because they made a mess of it in Mex. They and that was kind of Higuera, and I think this is also one of the reasons he got sacked because he made a whole mess with the TV deals. And so this goes way back to the whole when they started the whole Chivas TV when they were trying to say, okay, we're gonna go to streaming, and then that didn't work out, and they ended up having to resign with Televisa, and then they tried once that contract ended, they tried to like I guess I don't know what this dude was doing, but um, they did like a breach of contract, and they Chivas is like in 5 different stations in Mexico,
Oh
you
wow,
know,
they're just
and and
scatterbrained.
they, and and it's kind of good in what says that yeah, you a lot of people get to see you, but you don't get as much money because it's not an exclusive.
Right.
It's like so, and there's like an interview where Martinez, the Pachuca guy, is clowning on Higuera and saying, "Dude, you don't even have an exclusive contract. Pachuca has like exclusive TV deal. You can't even get that." And I was like, "Damn," and you could see Higuera just putting his head down, and like so for example, Televisa shows Chivas games on what is it? What is it? TDN? What's their cable sports channel over there?
It's like
TDN, right?
TUDN.
TV Azteca.
Yeah. No, no, not Azteca. They have like like a sports channel. I think it's TDN. And but they have the regular open air channel, and that one they don't pay Chivas anything for that. There is they had to do it for free.
Damn.
And yeah, so they're like in TV Azteca and they're in like all these channels. So with the US, I guess they were trying to get more money. Like, all right, let's try to recover that mess and let's try to get more money. And they were asking for like 20 million, I guess. And Univision wanted to give them 15. And I guess Telemundo doesn't probably want to get in. I don't know. It's a mess, dude. It's a mess, and they're trying to straighten it out. Because they're not trying to step on toes. And it sucks for Chivas because I'm, I'm hoping some of this money helps bring in some players. But look, I got the list. So the team with the most, with the NASCAR looking jersey is León. They have 11. They have 11 sponsors. They have
Damn.
Caliente, Telcel, Cisolar, Office Depot, Cementos, Fortaleza, Primera Plus. That's a pretty good bus line. I don't know if you guys have ever traveled. They give you a sandwich and a soda and coffee.
Back in
So
the
you
day,
could
back
drink.
in the day, it was,
And,
man.
and
There's some better
oh,
ones
not
out now.
anymore. Oh, there's better
There's
ones.
better ones out there nowadays.
No more
So
bimbo
they
logos though.
air conditioning. So and then they have This is like this is very small letters, man. It's like for ants. Ciudad Maderas. I have no idea what that is. Mobile Super, KYN, Mega Cable, and TUDN,
Where's
which
this?
is
It's
the
a
new,
lot.
which is the new station here in the U.S. The Univision Televisa station.
Yeah. So back onto this last game, though. I think we can close it out saying Querétaro's going to spank these guys pretty hard. There's this guy you guys need to look out for. He's a defensive player, Luis Romo, for Querétaro. That dude needs to be looked at by Martino, man.
He's Mexican.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
nice.
got some push forward capabilities. He scored a couple of goals last week, I believe, and it's
And
pretty.
you know how we haven't heard from
Luis
Querétaro?
Romo.
We haven't heard
Did you
of they
say
got the
Isaac Romo?
Luis
No,
Romo.
nah.
Luis.
That's
I was
thinking
about
of
to say Jolie.
There's also
Jolie knows
another
that guy.
player that they should look out for. His name's Yair Pereira. I think you guys might know
yeah, I do know him. The
He's
Chiva players booted him
him. He
out for
has
being
he has 2 goals already this
he
season.
does. Hey, it sucks that he left Chivas, but the teammates didn't want him. He was
Oh
in
yeah, he was a
cahoots with
narc.
Higuera. Ah man, sucks. I think he meant well, because he was like, hey,
He
these
was a
dudes.
solid captain. I think
No, yeah,
after Reynoso left, because Reynoso was the captain forever, and you needed another center back that had that backbone. And he stepped up to the plate. I think he was solid.
yeah, and
what's the
Querétaro's in
name of
second
that?
place, man.
Hmm?
What's the name of that youth from Querétaro that Chivas almost bought? And then everyone was saying that Chivas was going to ruin him and he should go to Europe. So the
Orbelin?
transfer. No, no, no. They did buy
No, no, no.
Orbelin. It was some young kid, Marcel something.
Marcel
It was
Ruiz.
a big shitstorm. Yeah.
Yes. And then all right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Chivas ended up not getting him, and then he's disappeared. Nobody even mentions him anymore. Like, nobody cares. So I don't know, Chiquis, if you've seen games, how is this
He
kid
hasn't
doing?
played.
I
He,
still want him to do good, even if
he's a
he's
Yeah,
still very
2000.
young.
dude,
He's like
Martin del
18.
Palacio. Martin del Palacio had like a 10 post thread on it on how Chivas was ruining the young talent, that they were going to stagnate this guy's career and all kinds of, that he was good enough to be in Europe, blah blah blah.
Yeah, this guy hasn't played though, man. Marcel Ruiz. He's 18 years old.
All right, yeah, he's still very young, but he should be getting more playing time.
So what's the game of the week? What's the game to look out for? Would it be Atlas and Cruz
For
Azul?
me, for me, it's Chivas León, man.
Oh yeah, of course. That's a
Chivas
given. But
León.
for all the unbiased listeners out there, what do you think is the?
I think
I think it's
Monterrey Toluca might be
Yeah,
a good one.
Monterrey
but
Toluca
Toluca's
is the.
in dead last place. Next to they're in second to last place.
Yeah, but that could mean La Volpe gets sacked. If Monterrey loses,
This is the
that
same
could put
Toluca
that.
that lost to Kansas City like 4-0.
Yeah, but that was before. That was before, because La Volpe did at least make the Toluca, the Devil's Cauldron. He made it respectable because before he came, man, they're just getting goleadas right there. Everybody was just stomping at them. Like, yeah,
It seems like this week there's going to be a lot of one-sided victories by a lot of teams. I want to see how
well,
America reacts. They're going against Monarcas. I think they're going to, get a pretty solid win.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like stuff going on that maybe the teams head to head they don't seem like that exciting, but there's like so much other stuff on the table that I think that's what makes it exciting. So like the Cruz Azul game as well. Uh,
That is
Cruz,
tomorrow
yeah,
at
Cruz Azul
7 o'clock.
Atlas.
Yeah,
Puebla and
that's
Pachuca. Hmm.
and I've jumped on with Joel on the Paul Fernandez bandwagon. You
Paul
guys got to check
Fernandez band, yeah.
got to check that guy out. The skills that dude has. He just needs to connect with his players a little bit more.
Yeah, and
So
Max though, and then Max, it's a bit hard because you the different altitudes and all that stuff. It could make it a bit difficult, at least in the beginning, for players to adapt.
so I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm starting to like the Moss boy. He's starting to grow on me.
Hey, you're jumping on, man.
I'm
Me,
pretty,
I've been on that bandwagon for a long time.
the
Yeah.
Jefe wagon.
The
Hey,
Tomas.
I was telling earlier, I was telling Chiquis earlier. To me, he's done two things that a lot of people aren't giving him credit. One, he's getting the team to win at home again. So four straight wins at home, going back to the Santos from last season. I mean, not Santos, León from last season, and then the Tigres, and then Santos for Copa MX, and then I forget which one was the other match. San
San
Luis was it?
Luis.
And so
Hmm.
the
A lot of
team had
penalties
not
though.
won. Still, the team had not been able to win at home, especially more than one game or more than two games in a long time. So to have four wins, you're beginning to make your stadium a tough venue again. And it's like, Tigres went in there and they got smacked. Yeah, Santos thought, okay, we beat these guys. We got this, and they got their asses handed to them too. So I think that's one good thing that he's beginning to do. And then the second one, you're slowly seeing some of these guys playing better. Trophies scoring after a year of not being able to put him back in the net. I think that's a positive as well.
He's back, baby. He is back.
Well, I hope, man. That's why. Let's see what he does against
Let's start printing
against
those.
Leon.
Let's start calling him the Mexican Messi again. Let's do it, man. We'll see.
I got my
We
doubts.
so I haven't really kept up with Leon. Is JJ Max still relevant, or he just had that one season?
Oh, he's still. I
He's
think
still
he's. Doesn't he have like 2 goals right now for them?
he's still there, man. Let's see.
Right now, it's Ismael Sosa. He's got 2 goals. Leonardo Ramos has a goal, and Mena has a goal. I don't think he scored yet.
Yeah, he's got
Oh,
one. He's got one goal.
Oh, he's got one
it's
goal.
a penalty or. Yeah, I remember seeing him score. I can't.
Also, how awkward is that going to be when his loan expires?
I don't think it's awkward anymore. Like some of the people are gone. The team is pretty much different now. You know, a whole different thing. Like different ambiente. A lot of those dudes are gone. Um, so I do think, and I think if they talk to him well, that's the one thing. Like I haven't given much credit to Varela, the GM, but he seems like he did like a decent job of like talking to him and like you know sort of told him not to like because he had been getting into some type of spats here and there, talking shit like, oh, the locker room here is much better and all that stuff. And he's kind of dropped that controversy. And as we saw when he scored against Chivas, he didn't celebrate. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was a big tell for me too. He didn't. Imagine if he would have scored, he runs into like the Chiva ultras and he grabs his crotch or something, or kisses the kisses the Leon badge. They would have been like, oh man, this guy is already out. But I think that not celebrating was a sign of respect. So and there's really no offers from Europe, man. I think Grupo Pachuca was hoping on that. They could like sell
Oh
him
yeah,
to
they had a
sell.
terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So I was like, yeah, not yet, not yet. So I think and I think that was their gamble, because honestly, if I had to choose, I would have I would have kept them for the final, for the league final, than send them to the under 20.
Yeah, that was a terrible move.
You
That
know,
whole the way it was handled was just terrible.
well, yeah, but they wanted that like vitrina. They wanted that under 20 sort of to be like to showcase, not
Right.
just because they okay, we have him, we have Linus, and we have pretty decent team. They should be able to make a good run. And that team was it was like pretty disaster, man.
Yeah, I mean it was terrible. Um, they would have benefited more if had they gone to Copa Oro instead.
Well, see, that's where I want. That's where I disagreed because John was on the same boat. He wanted them at Copa Oro, but I would have preferred. I would prefer. So for me, like for your youth, I would prefer under 20 than Copa Oro, and then I would prefer a league final to the under 20.
Yeah, I mean, how many opportunities are you gonna have to dispute like a league final?
Yeah, and,
Not.
and 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 that thing was because he was starter, or he was gonna get a lot of playing time. So that was like a big reason. And Gold Cup, I don't see him as he would have had a lot of playing time. He was gonna be bench, and that's why I preferred him under 20 because like him and like Linus were gonna be like the main players. So I
Yeah,
wanted to see, can these dudes carry a team, you know? But
yeah.
they just had a really bad coach, man. That dude couldn't make up his mind in tactics and whatnot. He shit the bed pretty bad. Chucho Ramirez kid, man, it kind of sucks. I know he meant well, but I don't think he was ready for that. Like he had like not good, not much experience, I would say. Like he had been in the background, but I would rather you be like a head coach first.
So
You
I'm
know,
looking at the. Sorry to disrupt.
no, it's okay. It's
I
okay.
was looking at the last 5 games between Chivas and Leon, and Chivas have 3 victories, 1 draw, and 1 loss. It's not bad.
No,
So
it's looking good.
history tells us that Guadalajara might get a victory on the road or maybe a draw.
That would be, a win would be big, but I could see a draw. I have Leon as favorites just going off of current of like just the current where they stand. But yeah, Chivas does definitely have what it takes to beat them. I just have Leon as favorites though.
You got Alexis Vega, who is he scored a brace in the Copa MX, and then you had Chofis. He's been starting to score, and like I said earlier, we got these little penalty tokens that we're redeeming. So who knows? I think we can pull it off.
All right. So we're gonna go to the next national team topic.
Oh yeah, the call up.
Yeah. So this call up here is in preparation. They're gonna do training in El Car from the 18th
I'll
to the 21st of August in preparation for the Nations League of CONCACAF. That's why it's a younger team.
I was gonna ask because I didn't recognize almost anybody on that list. So are like forced to use like under 23s or what's going on, or is he just experimenting?
It's just a camp.
Oh, it's a camp.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
just
just like a training camp.
Oh, okay. So not actually.
No, they're not gonna. This is not like the call up for their next amistoso.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is they're playing what, Argentina, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, Argentina, San Antonio. I'll be there, hopefully.
Oh man, Cheeky's going.
Um,
Oh, nice.
and that call up is actually going to be like a 30 man call up. He wants to call up as many as possible instead of the normal. I guess it's what is it, 23. So there's going to be a lot of guys with their chance to show him that they deserve a call up when it gets down to bigger games. But this is just a League of Nations. To me, like I've said this before, and I don't want to be insulting or whatever, but I guess it is. The League of Nations, they're going to be playing Caribbean teams and stuff. Uh, you're not going to take your top players. So this is the exactly uh, type of team you want to take. Let these young guys grow and get some experience, and because they're eventually going to be the future of the national team.
Yeah, I do think that. I think one of the plans is to, forget a lot of players that are going to be on the under 23, the the Olympics, and I don't think these a lot of these guys. I see very few, maybe one or two, will make the squad for the World Cup. From that list, like you could probably see JJ Mack being one of those guys. Um, but I think the goal is 2026 when Mexico being host. I do think that they're preparing for that, and my main concern though is man, the youth coaches that they have, they just seem pretty terrible. Who's the Jaime Lozano, or who's the current guy right now? Jimmy Lozano.
Was it Jimmy? Yeah, I think
Háblame Jesús.
Jimmy Lozano was. Yeah, he had some bad results. He was the one that took the. Did he take that team with Linus?
No, that was Ramirez. That was Ramirez kid. That was Chucho Ramirez son. who took the
Okay.
under 20.
I remember Martin wrote about Linus and or about Jimmy Lozano and the struggles that he had. So yeah, he didn't do too well. But this, so they say this is preparation for the Nations League. This is the group Mexico is in: Panama and Bermuda, and the top spot going to the final championship. So, and they're starting to play in September. Mexico doesn't have a game until October though.
Yeah, I could, and then for those games, they don't need to call in the Europeos, man.
Yeah,
Especially for those type of opponents.
yeah. So these initially, these types of young players can get a chance with a mix of maybe some Liga MX teams and things like that. Be good to go. Yeah, all these small cups, man. First we have the America losing a small cup, and now we got League of Nations small cup. Throwing hate. But yeah, do any of these guys stand out? If you notice, Luis Romo is on that list. The guy I was talking to you about on
Nice, nice.
from Querétaro. Let's see if anyone else. Arteaga is in there. Sebastián Jurado, I know we talked about him um, as an up and coming goalkeeper. Jonathan Gonzalez is back. That guy was lost, man. We need a Nations League to get him back in the call up. Eric Aguirre. So yeah, not much going on there. I guess Jaime left. So that call up just for some training at the Centro de Alto Rendimiento in Mexico. The League's Cup coming up. We discussed Liga MX week 5, and I think that was it. Shout out to some guys on the chat, Troll Kings, who we've always seen. Gives us a shout out, saying we deserve more viewers and subs. I just submitted or I posted the link to the stream on Reddit. So that's partly due to us needing to uh, get our stream, get our podcast out there more. Mostly I post things on Twitter, but we do have a Facebook channel or a Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page, which I need to put more post. But Joel and even Juan and those guys have been putting stuff on the Facebook, and John contributes a lot to the Twitter, and yeah, so Joel, you still around? I think we're about ready to close off the podcast. Jaime had to leave; his connection was bad. He was out of power over there in California,
That's right. He was
North,
being powered by a candle.
powered by.
He needed
He was
light. He was
he
had.
was he was running off solar power when in the middle of the night
Oh
with
man,
with no sun.
what happened to Profe, man?
Profit dropped. I think he said he was gonna come back, but
His Metro PCS ran out of minutes.
yeah, he had to go to the Oxxo and get a recharge.
Get the Oxo. And go to Lady Oxo. Man, that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it for today.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, Joel. Have an enjoyable
Ha-
weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, we will. Hopefully, you guys can. I don't know if I probably won't be able to on Sunday, but hopefully, you guys can get together, have another podcast Sunday evening, go over the weekend's results. Should be some
Yeah.
interesting things going on. But stay tuned for that. Stay tuned on our Twitter. Thanks, Troll King, for joining, and our viewers. We've gotten up to a few, I think 4 concurrent viewers at the same time. So thanks to all you guys, and we will see you guys later on the CantinaMX podcast. Have a good evening.